do you want more?
Why don't you just make 10 louder and make 10 be the top number and make that a little louder?
These go to 11.
Thanks for your time.
There. Okay. This meeting is being recorded by host. Fine, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Hey, thank you for your time, man.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
So you guys have a new record out, Rad Wings of Destiny. I'm guessing definitely a Priest reference there,
Absolutely. 100%.
So tell me about the record. I mean, you've got the video for That Ain't Living. That seems to be getting some pretty good attention, you know, to kind of advance the record and stuff. There's some great tunes on there. Kill the Pain is another great one. You know, I really enjoy that one. And then Drinking and Driving is great. And then the cover, which you guys always are brilliant with your covers.
Yeah, that was actually just we were actually covering another song, a Joan Jett song. It was a Joan Jett song. I forget.
Okay.
I actually forget which one. It was like,
all right,
and it just wasn't working.
Okay.
It wasn't coming together right, and you know we'd recorded all the drums and bass and guitars and folk, and we were just like, yeah, it's just. And so we were all sitting. It was during this recording session, which was in El Paso, Texas. We went out to dinner one night, and we all kind of agreed at the table, let's scrap it. Let's just not put it on the record. Let's just start working on it, basically. It's just not happening. And let's think of some other song. So we all kind of were sitting there, and a couple of songs popped up. You know, we still had a couple of days in the studio. And Whit, I believe, came back from the bathroom. I don't know if he heard it or what, but he just yelled out, Lola, let's do Lola.
Okay.
And we all, you know, most of us are, you know, we're all in our 50s. We're like, oh, yeah, the kid, Lola, hello. And then, yeah, we all sort of kind of sing, like, yeah, but, and we're like, you think about a song like, could we play that? Could we do that? Like, yeah, we all loved the song. I mean, we right away were like, oh, that was a classic song back in the day. And it was a song that we, you know, all liked. So we're like, let's try it tomorrow. We got, you know, quick, we started listening to it on our phones and stuff. And we learned it that next day and started recording it. And really had a lot of fun with it. You know, there was a really cool studio we were at. There's pianos, there was all kinds of stuff. So we just went nuts.
Turned out great. I mean,
thank you. Yeah, it awesome. Turned out better than we thought.
Yeah. So, you know, Ugly Kid Joe, I mean, you guys definitely have a presence, I think more so in Europe. Is that accurate than in the United States?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we reunited in 2011-ish. And in 2012, we went on tour and we went to Europe. And it was kind of like some of the shows it was weird. It was like, whoa.
Right.
Like we played in Paris, and I think in a club that we played in 92 that holds 1,000 people. And we played there in 2014 or 13, whatever it was. And 910 people showed up. Like it was almost packed. And we were like, whoa, it was amazing. I mean, we were really pleasantly surprised by some of the turnout, I guess you could say. And we have played about 4 shows in the States since, and they've, you know, been hit and miss, but Europe's been consistently like really great. Like we played some incredible shows.
What do you think it is about in the United States not coming on board? Because I think one of the things going back to when I first discovered you guys, you know, was when you released the EP, and obviously Everything About You, you know, was the tune that MTV latched onto. And I mean, it almost seems like maybe that particular song might have kind of pinned you guys down as like a band, like, you know, like I think at the time the other band was Scatterbrain. You know, they were a real fun band, really musically inclined, you know, a lot of talent there. And then also like a band like Green Jello, right? They were just kind of like a rock, but not to be taken too seriously. But obviously with Ugly Kid Joe, I mean, the musicianship's there, and you guys are more than just that particular tune, right?
I mean, I guess you're referring to the States. Yeah, I mean, I mean, we all know, I think as a musician in a band, we know that things can turn really quick in the States. We've seen it through our whole entire career. We've played with bands in the States that at one time were huge in the States, and then all of a sudden weren't. But they would still go to Europe, Japan, Australia, and be pretty big. I mean, Bon Jovi is a perfect example. That's probably an extreme example. We toured with him in '95, and in the States he was doing theaters, and we went to England and he sold out Wembley and broke the record for 3 nights in a row. And we were like, whoa, like there is life after, you know, outside of the States. And then you realize how big the world is and how many people there are, and how tastes change and how it is. I mean, we used to joke, we're kind of like we joke a little, we're like a white trash band. We're from the Bay Area, and we are not that popular in the Bay Area, but we would go to Sacramento and it'd be like, it's on. So it depends on where you go, and some places are, you like to use the term jaded, but I wouldn't say that. It's just places like LA and SF, they really, everything wants to be the newest, the greatest, cutting edge. And I totally get that. We were part of that. As a young musician, you always want to see the newest band. As a fan, you want to see what's new. You don't want to go, I don't want to go see Van Halen with Sammy Hagar, but you want to see the brand new Jane's Addiction lineup or whatever it may be. You want to see this new band that's doing something new. So, and I think that's, like the States, it moves quick here. I think it moves quicker. And for some reason in Europe, it actually goes the other way around, because a band like, it's weird. Like, it's weird. Like Backstreet Boys, when we were back in the 90s, Backstreet Boys weren't really big in the US yet, and they were massive in Europe before they got big in the US. So that one kind of went the other way around. It was really weird. Usually it's like you're big in the USA, and then you kind of, your career dwindles somewhere else. But with them, it was the other way around. So they're big, and they always will be. But I'm just saying, it's interesting how different, like, even Europe can be to the US in terms of taste. And
does it mean that much to you guys, though, to have that level of success in the United States, or it's just you guys are just fine with the success you have had over the years?
Obviously, having the success we did in '92 was phenomenal, and to have, and what you may not even realize is that we actually broke worldwide at almost the exact same time. It's not like we broke in the US and then came to Europe. We were like, it was top 10 here, and it was top 10 in Japan, Australia, and almost all of Europe and South America. And we just started going everywhere. And it was short-lived, but it was like really insanely insane. Whoa, like they're playing this shit in Rio, and you're going and playing in front of 80,000 people. So we had this great success in the US, and that's where it all started. But it didn't last as long. But I guess what your question was, no, we honestly are just grateful to be big, or be able to play anywhere, not be big, be able to tour. We're super grateful that we can still do it. We're in our 50s, and we're playing Ugly Kid Joe music that we did in our 20s, that we broke up after 97 because we thought it's over. So we're totally grateful that we get to still do it. And luckily we're all still friends, and we still can write songs and make music. And no, we never really, honestly, in the last, let's say, 8-9 years, we actually did once talk about, like, it's kind of cool, honestly, to be big in places you've never been, because you get to go there.
No, that's great.
And check it out. We in Bulgaria, and as much as we would love to be big in the States, who wouldn't? It's like the prize, to break in the States. All our English friends that are bands are like, that's always the English kid's dream, is to break in the States, to do that American tour. And we did do it, and we did some amazing tours there. But it's actually kind of funner now to be like, because now going on tour is like, wait, let me see the thing. It's not like, it's like, oh, we don't even know what Estonia, what that is. Let's check it out. And then you go online, you read like what to see in Estonia, and you go to the castles and all that. So there's a lot of positives about being big in trippy places. Let's just put it that way. And I'll take that. And as far as that, because I know that, like you said, the song kind of broke worldwide, top 10 basically in all these countries, including the United States. At that point, when it starts breaking, everywhere, is it kind of one of those things that your guys are kind of like, now people are going to think we're that kind of band? Kind of like, I'll give you an example, and I'm sure you're familiar with the bands, like with Mr. Big, Extreme, and then Saigon Kick. They had ballads. You guys didn't have a ballad, but they had ballads, and then people thought they were that kind of band, right? So did that apply to Ugly Kid Joe internally, in the camp? I think,
whoa, what's going on here?
There's totally two sides to that two-edged sword, as you say. Like, of course, it was super exciting. We're 23-year-old guys. You do this EP in 6 days. There's not a lot of expectation, and you're in a Winnebago touring, playing in front of 8 people in Portland, and a month later there's a line around the block, and your song's on MTV and all that. So that whole moment, we never thought, oh, it's this song, maybe it's not really a good representation. We're like, holy shit, it's on. Like, people are coming to the shows. We got to start writing more songs so we actually have a full set. So they're going to want us to headline and all this. And that was just purely excitement and we felt great about it. Then it starts to hit, oh wow, then of course you get the backlash, it's overexposure, and then everybody hates your band in the media, and this is the stupid song, and blah blah blah, and you're like, well, we have other songs, and then you do have to sort of, you kind of backtrack, and you're not like regretting it, of course, but you do sort of like go, oh man, I wish it would have been another song, so to speak. Like, I wish it would have been like a Neighbor, where it's kind of a rock song that starts at the beginning, something like that. But then, trust me, as you get older, you realize what a blessing it is, because none of this would be possible without that door being not just kind of open, but like smashed open to where literally everybody knows the name of your band. So when you do release Cats in the Cradle, at least the radio program was like, oh yeah, it's that band that had that one song last year or whatever. Let's get a little listen. They had a hit before. So it did open up a ton of doors. That part of it is fantastic. Yeah. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's true.
Yeah.
Like,
right. But even to this day, I mean, I go on Sirius Satellite. I typically listen to like Hair Nation, and there's Cats in the Cradle every now and again. And then Everything About You is in there every now and again. Again, they kind of put you guys in that, with the hair bands, but we know you're not, but you know what I'm saying. You guys are still getting the airplay, and that's what you guys are known for. And gosh, you got 2 songs that get played, on a regular rotation. That's pretty good.
The Hair Nation, because we weren't really a glam hair band.
No, you guys were more alternative than anything, I would think.
We were kind of right in the middle, as I have to say, because I will say, for me personally, I love the hair metal. I love Motley Crue, Poison, Rat, Van Halen, and but we did veer more towards like AC/DC and Priest in terms of our roots, and of course Chili Peppers and hip hop and stuff like that. So I, in a way, don't have never had a problem with it, except for that we said, like, we weren't really that, we weren't a glam hair metal band, but like you said, at the same time, if they're playing it on the radio, I mean, that's what when we toured with Def Leppard, we're like, here's a massive pop rock band that actually has some badass rock and roll, hard rock stuff in their repertoire, and they're fucking good at it, and they just happen to sell the most records doing these ballady type things. I mean, here are these guys, they're 17. I mean, I just really appreciate that band for what they went through and how they just persevered, and they're just a really good band that loves what they do. And anyway.
What do you do as a band in terms of, like, I know earlier you said, supporting Bon Jovi, big deal, huge deal. Leopard, again, another one of those huge bands. What do you do to kind of mix up the set, or what's the mindset going into something like that? Because again, you guys have all sorts of stuff in the catalog, heavier stuff, hard rock and stuff, some alternatively kind of rocky type stuff, and some stuff that's even just like funk and all the other influences that go into the pot, right?
I think in terms of the live set, we do, we kind of, I have to say, selfishly, we kind of play what we really like the best of our stuff. Of course, we have to play the songs that we know were successful, but, that's the given. But we like to play songs that we actually like playing, that feel, and usually those are more hard rock, upbeat of the songs, but we like to break it up too and bring it down here and there. So what we really have gotten, I think, good at is really mixing it up well and kind of getting the flow right. And there is something to be said about depending on who you're opening for. Like when we were opening for Ozzy, we were like, and Motorhead, we're like, we should play our heavier stuff, right? Yeah. And then we're over Def Leppard, like, let's try some of the more poppy stuff, So it's kind of cool in a way being in a band at this point where we have a lot of songs and we can really, we can do an acoustic set. Sometimes we do. Yeah. So we could probably do a lot. So, that's kind of fun in a way that we can do that. But I think in general, we like to keep it like the hard rock numbers and the heavy metal stuff.
Yeah. And again, it seems like you would go over fairly well with that crowd, especially if you tailor the tunes. Was there a time where you guys were supporting somebody where things didn't go over as planned?
No, that's one of the things we're super grateful for. We never, I'm going to knock on wood here, we never like had that like get booed off the stage or like tomatoes. We've had shit thrown at us for sure, but it's never been like the whole crowd's turned on us. So for the most part, we've been really lucky, especially because we played with some of our absolute heroes, and it's always gone over really well. And with Van Halen, it went great. With Ozzy, it was fantastic. And those are moments where you're a little nervous because to us, those are like our freaking heroes, you know, and you know,
Yeah.
and they're on the side of the stage watching. So you're like, oh man, Eddie's watching. I hope this is a good show.
Yeah, right. Nice. And the band's name was inspired. I think you guys were going to share the bill or shared the bill. I don't think Pretty Boy Floyd made the gig, right? And I think you guys were going to support him. Did you guys play the gig, or did the gig get scrapped when they couldn't make it?
I think the whole thing got scrapped.
Okay.
Yeah. That's as far as I can recall, that
yeah,
got the name because of it, but we didn't actually end up ever doing that gig.
Okay.
But the name stuck, so we got a name out of it.
Okay. So yeah, okay. But was there a different name for the band at the time, or was that the name that you guys
at that time we were 100% nameless? That's why we came.
Okay.
Literally, we had okay, there was a band before, I'll just say it was called Overdrive, and that was the band it was in, and I joined, and we were like, and I, you know, one of the first things I said, we got to change that name. So we had a couple names in the works, and I think we may have even played under another name once or twice. Let's just put it this way: it got really funny because we got the call to do this gig, and you know, when there's an international act, it's a big deal, and that was Pretty Boy Floyd. So the guy was like, "Look, you guys have to come up with a name because I have to put a name up." And we were adamantly didn't want to go under our old name, so we literally had, I think, an hour to think of a name.
Oh, wow.
And as a joke, I said, "Let's open up. Okay, we're opening for Pretty Boy Floyd. Let's just, for this gig, like the guy's like, we need a name now. Let's just be Ugly Kid Joe opening for Pretty Boy Floyd." Like it just came off the top of my tongue, and we kind of laughed and snickered. It's like, call him up right now, tell him that. And like Mark's like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Let's just do it." And so let's do it. So we did it. Called the guy's like, "Fine." And then we all started. The name kind of had a nice ring to it, so we went with it, and we started because we had a pretty good following as the band prior called Overdrive.
Okay.
So to get people to come to the shows, we'd always put Ugly Kid Joe, formerly Overdrive, or formerly known as Overdrive, something like that. I forget how you worded it back then.
Right.
So we used that. We did it for like 3 or 4 gigs, but we'd play a lot of gigs like one after the other on weekends. And maybe we kept doing that a little too much because they're a band in town named themselves formerly Overdrive.
Oh, wow.
Just to fuck with us. That's the kind of town we started. It was a total skateboard, California surf town where, I mean, we were like let's admit, we were the hair band. You know, we were the hair band, and they had to make fun of us, so they did, and they were good at it. Like, you know, that's one thing. It kept our egos in check being from here, because it was like heavy metal was not popular here, and we got a lot of things like that. Ugly Kid Joke was another name that was thrown around, and it was kind of rad in a way because it kept us really humble. And you know, we were friends with some of the people that would, you know, spray paint this kind of crap. But it was, you know, it's that thing. It's that rivalry. It's that, you know, it's the punk rock versus the hair band or whatever it was.
Nice. So what's the game plan going forward in terms of, you know, promoting this record? I mean, I'm sure there's probably dates in Europe forthcoming.
I'm leaving tomorrow morning, in fact, to go to Europe. We're going to the UK. We're doing about a couple weeks worth of shows, and that'll be the first sort of Rad Wings of Destiny tour, or leg, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's a leg, it's its own tour. And we're doing, it's a co-headlining tour with a band called Massive Wagons. That's an up-and-coming band from the UK. And that should be fun. It's like, we're kind of splitting the set time, you know, the headlining set time, and just going for it. And it should be really fun. Some really nice venues, and that's in the UK. I think we're even going to go to, no, I guess that's still, isn't Glasgow? That's still the UK. Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to do the UK, and then we've been talking about coming to the States next year.
Great.
So that's in the works.
What's the set length time for you guys these days? Like, you're doing this co-headlining, so
this one's about an hour and 15 as the co-headliners, but usually when we headline, we can do easily 140. Oh wow. Even longer. We've done 145. I think we've pushed it to 2, but that's when we had, like, we were doing all kinds of stuff like covers and you know, but yeah, we do a solid hour 40, I think, is our headliner.
Yeah.
Hour 30 is kind of what they usually ask for, and we usually never have a problem doing that.
Yeah. Well, so I'm trying to figure out, you got a priority in terms of questions here, but let's just go with this. How much of the new stuff do you plan on inserting into the set list when you guys do this co-headline?
At least 3 songs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Lola one of them?
Yeah.
Oh, that should be cool. You guys could almost do like a double medley of the covers.
I know, right? Well, they're kind of like their same era.
Yeah.
Right. I think 70 something, whatever that year was. But
Right. Nice. Another question I had: Did you guys ever meet Pretty Boy Floyd at all? I mean, I'm just curious if you guys
I
ever
don't think
crossed paths at any point in your lives.
It's funny. I just earlier today I did an interview and I told this story because I just remembered it. We were in the studio doing America's Least Wanted, and it was after Everything About You had become popular, and obviously Everything About You had been a hit, and so we had answered that question a million times. How'd you know your name? So out of our mouths came Pretty Boy Floyd. So we were in the studio recording, and someone from it was A&M, I think, or I forget where it was, but comes to our room and says, "Hey, there's someone on the phone." Before cell phones, there's someone on the phone from Pretty Boy Floyd wants to talk to one of the guys in Like a Joe. And we're like, oh shit. Because, we didn't know. Is it like, are they mad?
Yeah.
Because, that was like, I mean, it was the time when, or it always is a time where like bands are always feuding and they're all mad about what you said in the press about them. So, because we as a joke, we were Like a Joe, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, yeah, I'll go talk to the person. And I picked up, and the guy was like, I don't remember which guy in the band, but he's like, hey, I just want to thank you guys for like putting our name out there. Ever since, you guys have had this, success, we've been getting it's given us a ton of traction, and we've been doing way more gigs, and everybody knows our name now because of you guys. So thanks. And I was like, you're welcome. Thank you for the inspiration for our name.
Last thing, if, at one point you guys went your separate ways and stuff like that. What brought you guys back together?
You know what? Whit and I grew up together, the singer and I, and we'd always been friends, and we stayed friends, and all of us actually stayed friends to some degree, in touch, whatever. And Dave went on to be a really successful producer, producing Evanescence, Slipknot, and Shannon went on to join Godsmack and have a 20 some odd plus career with them.
Right.
And they were in a studio working on The Oracle, a Godsmack record. Dave was producing, Shannon on drums, and of course they started hanging out. And one night, I'm assuming after a lot of beers, they were like, "Whoa, what if we did?" Like at the time, Dave had just built a really nice recording studio in Louisiana.
Right.
So let's call Klaus and Whit. Let's see if we can do it was kind of their idea, honestly. It wasn't even Whit and myself's idea. But they called each one of us separately, and so then me and Whit talked, and it was just this moment of like, yeah, of course. I mean, it's like literally like, let's see what we can do. And so we did it. And, it's one of those things where, neither Whit or I were in a band. So we were like, yeah, this could be our last chance,
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's awesome. Hey, listen, man, thanks for your time. Safe travels. We'll get this online and passed along to the publicists. Hopefully we can reconnect. Like you said, plan is to get some dates in the US. Maybe we can catch up again when you're plugging some of those dates, and continue plugging the record, right?
Right on. Thank you so much.
Man. Hey, thank you for your time, huh?
Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks.